All right, and we are live. Welcome everyone to the third Roave Hangout.
Welcome, James.
Yay!
Damn, I missed the second one.
No.
You missed the second one. Yes, you weren't here. So let's everyone introduce yourselves. For those who haven't a clue who any of us are, I'm going to start in the order that they're on my screen here. So Antoine, you go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm mostly known as a nomad right now. I've been traveling for the last 9 months. I've done a lot of work in the Sim Framework ecosystem, but lately I've been doing mostly DevOps and infrastructure. So that's quickly about me.
Cool. And Ben?
Well, I'm Ben Scholzen, mainly known as Desperate, and I'm a software architect.
Nice. And Evan?
Hi, I'm Evan. That's it. That's all I got. No, I'm a programmer. That's what I do. I write code and stuff, and I got all these guys together. That's about it. I don't know what else to say about myself.
Well, I mean,
Great
that's
introductions across the line.
That's not even strictly true because you didn't get me together. That was Gary and Marco's fault.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, I had nothing to do with that, and I will go on the record saying I had nothing to do with that.
I'm bothered by the fact that we have to duct type you.
Oh dear. All right, and Marco, introduce yourself, please.
I've been doing consulting for a few months, and now I'm mostly doing conferences and workshops until the next consulting gig comes up. So, yeah.
Cool.
Oh, there's a new participant there.
Yeah, and this is Leela. She's my co-host today.
All right.
And the group growling sounds are Chloe. Okay, now you can go ahead.
And I am supposedly sort of curating this thing, and I'm mostly quite tired at the moment because I've been doing a bit of traveling recently. So forgive me if I'm not really with it today. But hey, all right, just to introduce you folks, if you've not joined us on a Roave Hangout before, basically it's just an informal chat with members of the Roave team. Maybe one day we'll get some guests on or something. I don't know how we feel about that.
Yeah, we should work on that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we can do that. Maybe we'll think about that for the next episode. But yeah, it was just a laid-back conversation on things that are interesting happening in the PHP community and maybe related stuff as well. So yeah,
do any of us actually know what's going on in the PHP community?
Well, there's some stuff.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, we'll talk about stuff then, I guess. Cool.
Yeah. Before we do that, we're just gonna get an update on the conferences that we're attending or speaking at over the next few months. I have just got back from Odessa, so we missed that one that was on the mailing list newsletter that went out a couple of days ago. Marco, you just got back from DWX Developer Week, right?
Yeah, it's a huge conference here in Nuremberg in Germany. It's kind of like the second conference where to go to for PHP. It's a mixed conference. It was fun though. Yeah, it was interesting.
Good stuff. And of course, we have DPC coming up later this week, Dutch PHP conference. It's a great conference over in Amsterdam if you've not heard of that. I don't know. And we've got Coda Cruise, which is in July. I'll be on the ship there. And then we've also got PHP South Africa. I will be there in Cape Town in September. And Marco, I guess you'll be at PHP Esther, maybe?
Yeah, that should be in October. It's going to be in the northern part of Brazil, which is going to be really hot, but really awesome. I love the community over there.
Nice.
Do you guys even work, or do you just go to conferences? Is that all you actually do?
Yeah.
I'm trying to fit work in around it.
I just travel. I don't even do conferences. I just see the countries. Meet
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just live off of whatever you get at conferences and just stock up, you know.
Absolutely.
Eat the swag.
Yeah, pretty much.
Eat the elephants.
And not forgetting, we've got Confu Vancouver in December. I'll be there, and I think have we got Marco? Are you going to be there?
Kung Fu. Oh, I didn't actually submit to Kung Fu this time.
What you gonna do?
Yeah, I just had enough shitty plane food. You know, it's a bit of a long flight. I'll probably submit for Montreal next year again.
Okay, fair enough. All right, and just to remind everyone, make sure you sign up to the Roave mailing list. We send out just a monthly email, just a quick update, and maybe some useful food for thought. Like this month, I just wrote a few paragraphs about ubiquitous language, this concept that comes from DDD, and kind of suggesting that you don't need to fully go into DDD in order to take in the business language into your applications and kind of get a bit of a better communication going on between the business stakeholders and so on. So that was quite an interesting one.
Some copywriting. That's what it is. Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. I tend to just waffle on about that. But yeah, please do sign up to the Roave mailing list. I'll put the link to that in the show notes underneath once this is all done. Finally, I've got some fun news. Hopefully, we've paid the deposit invoice to get the Roave elephants made.
Yay!
Wow.
So
about time.
This Roave elephant is gonna actually happen. So it takes a few months, I think, in production, but once we have them in our possession, we'll bring them to conferences, and
I'm sure we'll find all sorts of creative ways to give them out.
Bribes work.
Bribes, yes, we will. We will definitely. We're not above bribing to get ahead.
Maybe one Bitcoin, one elephant should be okay.
That was cheap.
Absolutely. Yes, and cool. I think that's everything. Antoine's reminded me about the open sourcing mental illness fundraiser, which they finished, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and they managed to get to $59,000. Which is 120% of the target. So that's really great to hear. I'm really pleased that they managed to hit the goal and in fact surpass it a little bit as well. And I know that I think they're working on a Patreon as well to get some regular donations as well.
Yeah. Cool.
Which is definitely worth a look at. And if you are affected by mental health issues, or you'd like to find out more, I'm really not good with my words today. If you'd like to find out more, please go to osmihelp.org, and there's loads of information. There's leaflets and things that you can give to your employer and so on. That's all very helpful stuff there. So yeah, please head over and have a look, and I'll put the link in the show notes again afterwards. So yeah, that's I think all the news type stuff I have to go on today. And of course, I'm going to ask Evan the question that I always ask, and it's probably going to get the same answer as last month, I suspect, but I'm going to ask anyway. Go on, Evan. What's new with Roave? What's going on?
What's new with Roave? I don't know what's new with Roave. Not much. Just doing client work. I'm about to go on site with a client here in the next week or so, and I don't even know what the hell you guys are all up to. I assume working or something. So
I hope so.
I hope you guys are working. Yeah, no, I don't really know what's new with Roave. I'm a horrible manager. That doesn't know what's going on. And you guys ask me every time what's going on. Like I'm gonna suddenly know. And
well, we're just working, right? We're getting things done and going to conferences and making elephants. There you go. I found the elephant.
And we are making elephants. Yes,
That's the important part. We're making elephants.
Yes.
And funnily enough, it's the first elephant that's actually gray.
I know. What the heck? Like we haven't had a gray elephant in the PHP community yet. blows my mind. So here you go, guys. Gray elephant.
Creativity.
Now you can have a.
It's
Yes.
ours.
So yeah, that's the Roave elephant. Anyway, well, I mean, yeah, we've been working so that we can put some money in the pot so that we can actually afford to do these elephants. Which,
Right.
yeah, anyone who's made a batch of elephants themselves will know that these things are quite expensive to do. So I know I'm pretty sure Adam is listening at the moment, and he regularly gets involved in making elephants for, I think, ZenCon, and there was a Sunshine PHP one as well, the yellow one. So,
so what about the rainbow one, the diversity elephant? It's gonna come now, right?
I think it's really, really soon. Last I heard is the shipment was somewhere in Europe, I think, maybe. I can't remember the update. We had a newsletter update recently, but they're definitely on their way. So I don't think it's going to be long until those start appearing in the wild, and we'll get lots of rainbow elephants. I've got like 5 or 10 coming, I think. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with them yet, but
I'll take one.
well, if they arrive before DPC, then I'll bring one along. Bring some along, maybe. So, and I've seen Adam's just put in the chat that they're getting a new ZenCon 2017 elephant created, and he says it's going to be amazing. So
amazing.
Impressive.
All right. So, we were just chatting just before the broadcast started, and Marco mentioned this interesting topic that, well, I mean, certainly interesting if you like Doctrine or use Doctrine, perhaps. You don't have to like Doctrine, maybe. But Marco, you said that you found a way to get rid of using collections in Doctrine. So tell us a bit about this and what it means, and why is that a good thing, and what it means for the future of Doctrine.
Let me see if I can screen share something, or if this thing will refuse to do so.
Live coding.
Yeah, this is going to be live coding. Does anybody actually know eval.org? It's not evil.org, but it's pretty much the same because it's running PHP. So, by the way, this is like an amazing toolbox. You can run anything you want with it, as long as it's obviously short execution time, and it tests your code against how broken it will be against all the different versions of PHP, including HHVM. So I can strongly endorse this website if you're trying out stuff. But so basically what happened is...
you can donate to it as well.
There's like a become a sponsor down here.
Yeah. Do that as well. It helps.
So, but basically the point is I was procrastinating so much because I'm supposed to prepare a talk. And instead of preparing a talk, I merged something like 60 pull requests around different repositories just to not do the slides for the talk. And I was doing other stuff. And this morning, you know, under the shower, because that's where ideas happen, while I was procrastinating there too, I was actually coming up with this weird idea. So the point is, you have something like this in Doctrine. You have like a blog post, and that's your, I would say, your entity class. And then you have something like private comments, right? And what happens is that when Doctrine loads this, so you have a function load via Doctrine, will return a blog post. Then SQL stuff happens here, and then reflection magic happens here. And then what it will do is it will say blog post comments. I mean, this is meta code because it's private API, is equal new collection, new what we call a persistent collection. And basically what is interesting about it is that we do that, this persistent collection, we do that because otherwise it's really, really hard to say, let's load these comments only when we need them. That's the point. So we use this thing called a collection to do that, because arrays in PHP, they don't really allow hooking into read and write operations on the array. So we use our own class. Now, there is a problem with that, because now this is a an advar collection. And the problem is that this is coming from Doctrine. So if you are in the DDD world, this is a violation, because this is a technical level library, and this is your core domain. I mean, it's not that important because it's still a very common domain. We're talking about collections. It's very similar to arrays, but it's still a smell. And plus, you have to always think about this is not really an array. It will not behave like an array. You can do array filter. You can do array map. You can't do the stuff that you're used to in PHP itself. You have to use different API. So the point is, there is an interesting trick in PHP. So let's make this public for a second. So you make a blog post. It's a new blog post. And then I say blog post, I'm going to unset blog post comments. So what will happen here is that if I do a var dump of blog post comments, well, you folks already know this, I guess, but what happens here? Shoot.
It'll be null.
I guess.
It will do null, but it will also produce a notice for an undefined property, which is really weird, because the problem is that PHP tracks properties in objects like in a hash map. It's the same stuff. It's just a hash map down deep in the core. It's obviously optimized, but that's kind of the point. So now the point is that you can do a public function get. And we do a var dump, actually return the name. I'm going to just do this. If I run it again, this will return comments. So this is a bit tricky, but the point is, if you have like dozens of properties here, and some of them are not needed the first time you load the object, you can just skip them by unsetting them, and then use this mechanism, this get mechanism here, to load them only when it's needed. And I mean, that was the idea. It's been around for ages. It's nothing new. It's just we never thought of loading objects partially. We always loaded these things entirely, and we now can do it field by field. It's just going to take a lot of time to implement this. But this solves so many problems, at least in the Aura. So yeah, that's what you do at 5 a.m. in the shower.
Well, I mean, the context of where you thought of it was maybe...
Yeah, you're very welcome for that, yes.
It's a classic Marco.
Ah, that's pretty interesting stuff. So we'll see that in like the next release of Doctrine, right?
If it ever happens.
Which is scheduled for next week, by the way.
Yeah, something like that.
Ah,
next week
cool.
in 10 years, yes.
Just after the keynote or just before it?
Oh, no. Yes, you're keynoting DPC, right? How is that going?
I'm writing this stuff instead of writing the talk, so I guess not well.
Don't worry, it's only a few days
So
left.
if you're going to DPC, you can just skip Marco's keynote because it's not even going to be ready. So
just for clarification, I'm sure it is going to be ready, right?
that was sarcasm in case that was not clear.
We are bringing the Nintendo Switch with like something like 8 controllers. We can play that on the big screen.
Nice.
If the keynote doesn't work out, you know.
The keynote.
Yeah, that's fun. We do that instead. I could actually start the keynote with that. Maybe it's better.
So
than
at least
slides.
8 of you should show up to his keynote.
Yes, absolutely.
No more.
Well, we can do up to 16, but never tried.
All right. I've just looking through the show notes. We actually had a question from someone from last time that we didn't manage to get to answer. So I'm going to propose this question now to you folks. It was a question from someone called Gary Hockin.
Never heard of it.
His question was, what's your favorite thing about GH?
About GH. He doesn't take too much space.
Are you sure?
I have no idea. Do you know positive things about Gary?
Well, We like Gary. I mean, for those who don't know Gary, he used to work with Roave, and he's now moved over to on that. Now a while ago, he moved to become a developer advocate, I think is the right term. I'm not sure, developer evangelist or something, for JetBrains, for doing their PHP Storm product. Yes, Gary, the PHP Storm guy. Someone wrote in the chat just now. Yes, indeed. So I don't know, Anton, what's your favorite thing about Gary?
His accent.
His accent. Nice. Ben?
No idea.
No idea. Okay.
Actually, I would
Evan?
say his professional, as a project manager, he's quite nice to have around.
Ah, there you go. There you go. Some nice compliments there.
He saved my ass once. I'll remember that.
Fair play. Fair play. Evan?
First of all, I love that his ego is big enough to ask the question and just use GH and assume that everybody on the entire internet will know GH. Secondary to that, I'd say that Gary is probably up there in the top most loyal friends that I've ever met in my life. He's a cool guy. He's awesome. He's always been there for me. So, yeah.
Oh, man. I hope he's listening to this, because I think his ego is going to be like...
We'll find out in about 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh, right. When he watches the recording. I just saw in the chat, though, that it was GH. I just opened the chat as I was answering the question and then realized that it was GH.
Yeah, it's, for those who don't know, I didn't have the question open. It's GEEH. It's because you say GH. His name is
right.
Anyway, we should probably stop talking about Gary and talk about something a little bit more interesting now.
Yeah, right.
So, actually, I'm going to hand over to you, Ben, because you've been working on container interop doctrine for a while now, and I'm just kind of wondering when we're going to hit the 1.0 release, so we can start marketing that a bit more.
Well, let's say I personally don't really care about version numbers at all. It's currently working. We still get pull requests, and well, I don't see that anything actually will change in the near future, except that we may maybe upgrade to PHP 7.1 or 0.2. But apart from that, I don't see any blockers from taking it 0.10.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it.
There we go. There we go.
Well, you can do it, James. I don't care.
Put somebody else and let him do the tagging, you know, like that's it. Do it.
Well, I can do sign tags, so that's okay.
Well, we do have an open pull request, which should probably be merged first.
Oh, so you're
I'll
not
check that
ready.
out.
You just lied to everybody on the internet. Nice.
No. I said the pull request is not ready. It's not me, because that's someone else.
Okay. Technicalities.
I'm busy with so much other stuff.
We got the composer-gpg-verify to
Yeah.
1.0, so if people want to hurt themselves, they can already start using that.
Or not hurt themselves.
Putting it in the chat there, but
That's
Yeah, I
an
mean-
interesting one.
yeah, I mean,
That actually came up in Odessa. Jordy did a talk about Composer, naturally, and someone asked, like, what's the chances of everything in the world of Composer being signed with GPG keys? So I was like, yeah, Jordy didn't mention the package, so I told him off for not mentioning the package, which is a shame. But I mean, we kind of had a bit of a discussion about this on the last Hangout. So if you want to catch up on that, then please do watch the previous episode, and you'll know what we're talking about. But I mean, I think probably in real terms, trying to get the adoption out to every package it's quite a big ask, because you've got to make sure every commit is signed and every tag is signed, right?
oh, just the tags actually.
Just the tags, yeah.
Yeah.
What if you only use DevMaster?
If you only use DevMaster, that's your problem. I mean,
And you like Roave
I would say
security
like
advisory?
something like Roave security advisories would be like a special case where we'd probably want to set up a workflow where we sign every commit. But beyond that, especially that one being security related specifically, but that'd be the one package we really wouldn't want compromised.
But that's actually one that I don't have signed because I don't deploy GPG keys on any server. So at least the private keys. So I would have. This is currently managed by my own infrastructure. It's a webhook that pokes my own infrastructure and sends back a commit. What I could do is push it to an AWS Lambda function, and then we would add the GPG private key to that particular environment. But right now it's not signing anything, which is a problem. Yeah,
that's an interesting point. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to send me a pull request to make sure signing works with a key that requires a password, which means that you have to pass in some parameters, please send the patch, because I don't do keys without password. That's a no-go, period.
I do actually have something for that, but we can discuss that afterwards, perhaps. There is a CLI utility for responding to those kind of prompts. So I can show you why, because I did the same thing with setting up a Bitcoin server at one point, together with a friend. And we have this problem setting up all the keys, providing the passphrase and stuff. So it is doable, and there is a utility for it. So I'll talk to you about that afterwards.
Let's go. Open an issue, man. Open an issue.
That's an interesting one about Lambda stuff. So, like functions as a service, right? That's pretty much what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
So
right now it's a PHP process running on Apache. That's how it works right now. We've been doing Lambda for ages. It's just that nobody acknowledged that.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we even had the set timeout to 30 seconds, which is much lower than what Lambda does, which is 5 minutes. So, yeah. PHP is AWS Lambda for the poor.
Nice. And an interesting anecdote. I'm just going to sort of throw in here. Sorry, it's a bit of a subject change, but we've just left Ukraine. And it seems that now Ukraine is being taken over by a ransomware attack. And I just wanted to clarify that this was nothing to do with me leaving the country or anything. So,
good to know. Good to know. I'm glad we got that cleared up. We can call all the press outlets, let them know to ease off that story.
It's nothing to do with me.
Can anybody check the account where the deposits are going?
It's anonymous, right? That's the whole point.
It's Bitcoin. It's not traceable.
The address.
Apparently, some people have been paying it. There's like, well, the last I heard, there was like $3,500 in there. So,
I'll pay for the offense, I hope.
I heard that I saw in the Hacker News thread though that the email server that was sending out the decryption keys for that had been shut down. So there's no point to actually pay the ransom because you can't even get the key. So I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard. So if you're infected by that, just don't waste your money.
Why didn't they just make a random key? What is the problem with these people? I realized that they went these great lengths in going and stealing a software that does amazing stuff. I would call it amazing because from a technical perspective, it's amazing. I wouldn't call the results amazing, but still. And then you don't make one key per deployed target? What is your problem? Why?
Can someone quickly explain what actually happened?
Yeah, sorry.
No, apparently not.
What are we?
No, there was an attack, but what was the attack and what was the reason for it?
So it's this ransom. Well, I don't think there's any real reason except for someone wants to make money, or maybe it's a political thing. I'm not sure. But I mean, in general, the way this works for those who aren't aware, in very basic terms, you trigger this virus or this ransomware somehow, maybe clicking a link in email or whatever. It will exploited vulnerability. I think this one uses Samba. Again, like the WannaCry one that was going around last month, I think.
It's just SMB on Windows. Samba is the Linux one.
Right. Oh, SMB. Yeah. I'm using Linux all the time, so. But yeah, so it takes over and it encrypts everything with a decryption key, and then you have to send them some bitcoins or something to a Bitcoin address. And when you send some money, maybe or maybe not, they'll send you a decryption key. I don't know whether that actually happens or not. And then hopefully you can then decrypt everything on your computer and carry on as normal. Being maybe $300 lighter.
Yeah, if the Bitcoin confirmation arrives within 6 hours, because honestly, if you want to pay Bitcoin nowadays, you've got to wait a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, that's assuming that people know how to even use Bitcoin. I think there's going to be a huge majority of people who are affected by things like this, certainly with the WannaCry stuff last month as well. You know, these people who are working at hospitals and things, they're not going to know how to buy Bitcoin, most of them. So
I don't
know how effective this is.
Hire us, we'll take care of it.
I still don't know how to buy Bitcoin. Like, literally, not with real money. I have something like 0.2, 0.3 Bitcoin somewhere, and I mine them myself. I never tried to buy them anywhere because, honestly, I don't give my passport away like that to random.
I bought it, and it has not been a good investment, so you're probably all just better off.
Yeah, we have our experiences there.
Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I had all my Bitcoin in Mt. Gox when that went down, so...
Ouch.
Oh,
Yeah,
yep.
I had about 5 Bitcoins there as well.
Wow. Okay,
5
that's
Bitcoins today is worth, what, 7,500?
10,000 or so right now, or more?
No, it's 12,500, sorry.
gonna have. Come on,
That's
it
a
can't
lot
be
of money.
10,000. But yes, the price is raising at an incredible speed. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's gone down lately. It was at 2,900 at one point. I think it's at 2,500 now.
Yeah.
Still, it's a shit ton of money. I mean, I remember when we were talking about mining this back in 2011.
I have a hard drive somewhere from a Pentium 2 that has something like 11,000 Bitcoin. And you know what? This is one of those computers that you format once a year.
Ouch.
I had no idea what I was doing. I was a kid. That was like ages ago when mining Bitcoins was like you turn it on and it's mining one every half a second. That it on one night. I didn't even.
My ex-girlfriend talked me out of buying Bitcoins at 12 cents and then again at $40.
What?
Yikes.
Oh gosh.
So I justify it by telling myself that even if I bought at either of those prices, I would have just sold like as soon as it doubled or something. Like there's no way I would still have those Bitcoins to this day and be one of those filthy rich people. So that's, and don't tell me that I would have forgot about them or anything. I don't want to hear it. I like being in my own little state of denial about this.
Yeah. Are we making you filthy rich?
Wow. Yeah, so anyway, that's a bit of a segue there, but yeah, that's the idea of the ransomware that's going around, and I guess the moral of the story is make sure you're doing backups. So, and with that, I'm going to go and back up everything I have because I don't have.
Maybe stop using Windows XP. You know, it's just because
I was using that Amazon Cloud Drive Unlimited plan that they just discontinued, and so now I gotta figure out what the heck I'm gonna do with my like couple terabytes of freaking drone videos now.
All right.
So, yeah.
Buy a hard drive. Just
buy a hard drive.
I guess I gotta buy hard drives. Yeah.
Maybe since you're into exotic hardware, maybe try with a tape system. That would be kind of cool to see. I think one tape can get like 40 terabyte or something. It's like
yeah, they still do those tapes. That's
I'll look into it.
But it doesn't really work well in Arizona because of the temperature, I think.
Right, there is that problem.
Well, you can always build a robot that controls it, like Lego Mindstorm or something.
This house that I'm staying in does have 4 AC units, which is awesome for redundancy and horrible for my power bill, whichever way you want to look at it.
4 AC units. Well, I guess you need it. I mean, I read a news story about a load of planes being grounded in Phoenix Airport because it was too hot for the operating temperature of the planes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, your shoes melt to the sidewalk as you're going. I can't walk my dogs past like 5:30 a.m. because like it'll just burn their paws. Like, it's horrible. Horrible. I don't know what the heck I'm still doing living here. I'm working on getting out as quick as I can.
You can come. You saw the president of France made a nice message about inviting people that.
Yeah, he said hackers come over here or something. Yeah.
That was kind of cool. I mean, I still disagree with going to France, but still.
Hey.
I mean, look what we got here. So.
Oh, I mean, talking about crossing borders and so on. I read Daniel. I can't remember, Daniel Hacks, is it the creator of curl? Is Esther denied at in Sweden?
Yeah, at the airport. There was an interesting discussion about that on Twitter today.
Yeah,
and on the Swedish Facebook group for software developers.
That's pretty rubbish.
Yeah, his passport was red flagged in Arlanda, the Swedish airport just north of Stockholm, and he wasn't even allowed to board. So at least that was a good thing. He didn't make it all the way to the US to get like, no, you're not entering the country.
Right.
But I mean, every modern piece of software that is on the web usually uses curl.
Probably the piece of software that flagged his passport probably uses curl.
Yeah.
Which is maybe ironic, but oh wow, yeah, that's pretty terrible. I can't imagine how he must be feeling at the moment.
Yeah, he was kind of pissed from what I saw yesterday.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm going to America next month for Coda Cruise, so hopefully everything's all right then. I haven't done anything major though, so
just
I can
don't
just
mention
fly under the radar.
Don't mention Bitcoin. Don't mention hacking. It's relatively. And you were not in Ukraine.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I'm screwed.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's wrap this up, folks. And it's great to have you all on again. And we'll do this again at the end of July. And maybe we'll try and get a guest on board next time as well, so we can grill them on questions and join in the friendly chit chat and or as they say in some people in the UK say the banter.
The what?
Banter.
The banter. Yeah. You don't know this term?
No, it's sarcasm.
It's pretty common here. I don't know.
No. All right. Okay, folks. Thank you very much, and we shall see you next month. And that's bye for now.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.